What's going on, Imperials? It's Emperor Cubone here. So, we're about to wade into the deep end of the Sinnoh region once again, with the remakes Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and then just a little bit later with Pokemon Legends Arceus as well. You can sound off in the comments which one you're more excited for, but just because we've been to the Sinnoh region before, doesn't mean that we know everything. Or at the very least, it might have been a while since you've been there and you may have forgotten. So here are some things that you might want to be on the lookout for in these upcoming games. Firstly, it's not really a secret, but the last time we were in Sinnoh, there was no fairy type. So this means that certain trainers will now be fairy specialists, whether they meant to be or not. They could create a brand new class just for it, or even adopt one from another region if they wanted to lean into more of the fairy type. But that's expected. Something that's more obscure that began in Generation 4 was including dex entries from other countries. These would be completely in another language, so most people wouldn't really get a lot out of it, but it's still culture, and while this might not be as intriguing these days since every Pokemon can get this treatment as soon as you trade them from somewhere else online, back in the day, this was only for about a dozen Pokemon or so, and the reason I bring this up is because there was an in-game trade offered by a hiker on Route 226 where he will give you a German Magikarp for a Finneon. Maybe this trade isn't worth it to you, but it will be interesting to check if this sticks around in the remakes, since it's not quite as special as it used to be, but it's still good fun. Another great thing about Sinnoh is the emphasis on the ancient lore and mysterious past, specifically referring to the legendary Pokemon throughout the region. They've already told us that Manaphy will be a gift, but there were several other locations for legendary Pokemon, many of which were obtainable at your leisure, but some of them required outside events like Manaphy. I'm gonna guess that Arceus will stay out of it like it did in the originals, since its own game is coming just down the pike, but it will be interesting to see what becomes of, say, the Darkrai event that needed a trigger, unlike its Crescent counterpart. I'm not saying that it's going to be there, but it'll certainly be worth a look to head over to the Seabreak Path and see if Professor Oak might be there to let you see a shaman. But while we're talking about the map, if you look at the top, you'll see the Battle Zone. This smaller landmass outside of the main body of Sinnoh houses several post-game training areas, such as the Battle Frontier. However, the interesting thing is that this whole island is technically not the Sinnoh region at all. I say island, it could be a peninsula, we don't actually know because the map just ends. The same could be true for the south or the west, possibly connecting to other spots. I mean, we don't technically know where the Sinnoh region is in the world, but it is frequently shown by fans to be in the far north, which makes sense given the ice. However, the Battle Zone climate is much warmer, even having a tropical and desert environment. Now, this may just be because there's an active volcano, but maybe it's something else, some other secret to this mysterious land. And maybe, this could be a long shot here, this section could be linked to the Legend Arceus game, since if you look at this map, it doesn't quite look like the Sinnoh that we see in the Brilliant Shining versions. I'm still not for sure on how you pronounce the name, but maybe instead of this simply being an old name for the same place, maybe this ancient name refers to a nearby land that had laid claim to Sinnoh, who then broke away at some point, gaining independence from their close-by neighbors. Again, that's all speculation, but we do know that there's something more going on up there. So it'll be exciting to see if they can expand upon this opportunity in these remakes. But there are plenty of other spots full of character, like the haunted old chateau in Eterna Forest, the Silesian ruins filled with unknown, and one that you may skip over in the Fuego Ironworks. This location is hidden away by requiring surf that you won't get until much later, so unless you purposefully backtrack, you might miss out on the great TM for Flamethrower. But of greater interest is the Trophy Garden that you can find on Route 212. You may have stumbled upon this area on your own, but might not have discovered its true significance. See, this patch of grass is found behind a lavish mansion, and the owner has imported a bunch of Pokemon to his own private garden. Some are fairly common, but on certain days we got the rare occasion that allowed us to capture wild baby Pokemon instead of just hatching them. And here was the first time ever that you could find wild Eevee or Porygon. That might be old hat now that we've played the Let's Go games, but this was wholly unique when it first appeared in the Sinnoh region. We may see these specific Pokemon in other spots for these remakes, but I would still say that the Trophy Garden is worth a peek to see what other spoils might be waiting for us. Maybe rare bounty from yet another region. Outside of Celestic Town, one of the biggest troves of knowledge in the Sinnoh region is the library at Canalave City. It's hard to miss because you are forced to come here in the main story to learn about the past, but if you decide to stick around beyond the requirement, you can get a peek into fascinating combinations of folktales and history. For instance, there's an old story about the Lake Guardians with some harrowing warnings. It says if you hurt Azelf, it'll sap your willpower to ever move again. Mesprit can steal all of your emotions if you even touch it, so I guess that's why it's always trying to flee from everybody. And if you look Yuxi in the eye, it'll take away all of your memories. This explains why its eyes are closed so tightly. It's for our safety. There's also another story that actually gives a reason for why Pokémon can be found in the tall grass so frequently. Whether you believe it or not is up for debate, but be sure to take some time to check out a few of these books, because you never know what stories they might have added. Now, the Sinnoh region may have one of the most notoriously tedious safari zones in the Great Marsh, so maybe we'll see that tweaked, but I am more interested in the fact that on the official map, we see the Pal Park is still there. This is notable because this was the facility used to move Pokemon from the GBA games onto the DS, but how exactly will this work on the Switch? I honestly don't know, so that will definitely be worth a look since we already have Pokemon Home. Maybe they will change it to a better Safari Zone after all. But talking about difficult catches and that foreign Magikarp we mentioned earlier does remind me of something from the post-game. In the resort area, in that upper not Sinnoh part, if you fish in just the right spot with your Super Rod, you can find a level 1 Magikarp. That might not sound impressive, but wild level 1s are quite rare. No? Still not sold? Well, this spot actually has an equal likelihood to fish up a level 100 instead. Wild level 100s are even more rare, and if you do snag one, it'll never be able to evolve. How novel. Granted, this wide range of levels was only in Platinum, but it'll be intriguing to see how much of a resort they make this area, whether it's based on the originals or the sequel. There are so many more fun secrets from the Sinnoh games, like the hidden item connected to Spiritomb right in your hometown from the very beginning. So I will love to return to these surprises, and maybe see some of them updated, like actually using Flash in more than one spot in the entire game. Who knows? What Sinnoh secrets are you most looking forward to revisiting? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!